Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Center at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Center on Peachy Road, Manopara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Center at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Center on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Center at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Center on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Center at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Center on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Center at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for His Worship the Mayor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Welcome to tonight's council meeting. I'll open the meeting at 7 p.m. We have received apologies from Councillor Smil-Janik, and I think everybody else is present. So we'll go to item 2, which is the confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 26th of November 2024. Be confirmed as a true and accurate record of proceedings. Councillor Halls.
Yes, I will recommend that we accept that.
Happy to move that way. Does it find a seconder?
Yes, happy to.
Councillor Onyazans.
Thank you.
I'm presuming the mover and seconder aren't wishing to speak further on the item. Any other councillors wishing to make any corrections to the said minutes or speak to the minutes? If not, then I'll put those in favour. Those against, I declare that carried. Move to item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any? Councillor Vanderpeer.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I would like to declare a general conflict of interest in item 14.2, Community Support and Grant Program Building Spaces. Just to be extra careful, outside of my council responsibilities, I'm an advisor to the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, who provides grant funding to one of the groups listed in this item. If they were unable to find a space, they would be unable to run the programs that they are funded for. So to remove any perceptions or doubt, I will declare a conflict by leaving the room and not voting.
Thank you, Councillor Van Der Peer. Are there any other declarations of interest? If not, move on to item 4, Mayor's Report. Obviously this time of year, lots of end of year school graduations, end of year events, Christmas parties, etc. I won't go through all of them, but they're all on the screen there, and you can look at those in the said minutes. The only thing I would mention is that it was fantastic to see that the City of Playford, working in partnership with Anglicare, now in its 13th year, was able to receive over 10,000 books as part of the program for Give the Gift of Reading. So that event was held yesterday, and it's great that over the life of that program that the community members have been able to reach out and get to the 10,000 book mark. So that was fantastic. So we'll move on to item 5, reports of representatives of council on other organisations. Are there any? No? Then we'll go to item 5.1, which is Certificate of Years of Service. So councillors, as you'll be aware, last month we had the presentation to Councillor Rentoulis and Councillor Onyazans for 10 years, and this month, we have Councillor Shirley Halls in her 10 years of service certificate. The LGA has advised that you will get your certificate, Councillor Halls, but it's not ready at this point in time. We have got a certificate here for you on your 10 years of service. So if you'd like to come forward, we'll present that to you.
To this council body. This 10 years I have kept them in mind and searched out their opinion on many matters that we have discussed in here, and I think that to say they are getting a fair go in the council chamber. We all have a duty, and we are all performing our duties well within our council work. So I'd just like to say I have enjoyed every minute of it. I hope to continue on for another 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawkes. And congratulations on your 10 years of service. We move to item 6, reports by councillors. Are there any reports? I think you've all submitted them anyway as they come through. Item 6.1, which is the information session record of attendance, which is there for noting. We move to item 7, reports of representatives, conferences and training programs. There are none. Move to item 8, questions on notice which are nil. Move to item 9, questions without notice. Are there any questions? Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I've been with the community advocating for a speed reduction on Blacktop Road from the intersection leading into the township, and today I received correspondence from Rhiannon Pearce regarding the City of Playford being updated on correspondence. My question tonight would be, can the elected body receive an update on notification received and discussion, and why did Playford consider the type of casualties before supporting a speed reduction? Where are we up to?
That's all right, we'll just take that first question, but I'm just trying to work out which is that, Mr. Green, who will take that question. What's this guy's name? Mr. Ward.
Through the chair. So we had received, I guess, early notification or correspondence from DIT. This was 6 months ago, asking if we supported the in-principle proposal to investigate a speed reduction along Blacktop and Yorktown Road. At that time, we asked further information about, things like the road crashes, the extents of it, and that was all subject to their investigation. The first time we saw the extents of it was we had received notification a week or so ago, and we were in the process of, we've prepared a memo that was just going through the process to be distributed to the elected members.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. I'm not sure if there are any further questions for you, but Councillor Kerrison.
Yeah, I just would further add to that, why wouldn't we be notified of that at that point in time?
Mr. Colhane.
Through the Mayor, in full disclosure, the memo was sitting with me for approval, and I have reviewed that today, and that will be distributed to the elected body tomorrow.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Hawkes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Look, just on a festive note, I've been talking to a lot of our residents, and there is a question as to why we haven't put up any banners on Elizabeth Way and along Main North Road. They're kind of intimating to me that we're not celebrating Christmas, although I've told people that we have Christmas tree in our main civic centre here and in the Grenville and at JMC. They're just asking if we normally put up the first week of December or before the Playford Christmas pageant usually goes on. They're usually put up, and they're just asking, feeling like we're not celebrating Christmas. I know that we have a high multicultural group in Playford, but they still feel that we should be celebrating. Can someone...
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Ms Goodchild, if you're able to provide a response.
Thank you for the question. Through the Chair, we have arranged for banners to be installed, and they were installed today. So there are some festive Playford banners across the city. We did have some challenges in terms of confirming the print production and the timing of them being installed. So we weren't able to confirm that earlier, but they have been installed today.
So will they be able to be put up earlier in future years rather than so late?
That's a good job.
Just to give, I mean, to me it gives, seeing the banners and the Christmas festival gives them hope.
It's question time, not debating time.
Yeah.
So if you've got a question. So can they be put up earlier next time?
Thank you very much. Yes, through the Chair, we would certainly look to be installing them much earlier in future years. They're newly produced banners this year, which is why we had a couple of those challenges, but we'd certainly look to do that earlier.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions without notice? If not, I'm presuming that those that have asked questions, someone would like their questions and their accompanying responses recorded in the minutes. Moved by Councillor Kerrison, seconded by Councillor Hawes. I'm presuming there's no discussion from the mover and seconder on that? No? Any other councillor wishing to have a discussion on that? If not, then I will put that. Those in favour? Those against, I declare that carried. We then go to questions. We've done that. We move on to petitions, which is nil. Deputations, which is nil. Move on to motions on notice. Item 12.1, motion on notice. Town of Port Hedland Council Resolution COVID-19 vaccines. Councillor Kerrison.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Doherty. The motion before us is pretty straightforward. Just saying the City of Playford resolves to acknowledge the receipt of correspondence on the Port Hedland Council by email to elected members on the 18th of November 2024. 2, acknowledge the Therapeutic Goods Administration, TGA, has since provided advice relating to the information presented by the Port Hedland Council indicating the safety of COVID-19 vaccines. 3, recognise the increasing concern in our community regarding the COVID-19 vaccines, which have been correlated with health data. 4, write to the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas, the Minister for Health and Aged Care Mark Butler, and the South Australian Minister for Health and Wellbeing Chris Picton, calling for a Royal Commission into the safety and effectiveness of the mRNA vaccines. The Royal Commission should, as a minimum, include its scope and verifications of the discrepancies between the TGA advice and independent research data. That the request for Royal Commission also seek the immediate suspension of the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines for children until they are further verified as safe and effective following the outcomes of Royal Commission.
You can speak to that, yep.
Yep, thank you. Since the advent of COVID-19 pandemic, the rapid development and deployment of mRNA vaccines have sparked significant debate and concerns within our communities globally. Initially released under the Emergency Management Act, these vaccines did not undergo the usual extensive trials and testing that were standard for new pharmaceuticals. This expedited process has led to widespread apprehension about their safety and long-term effects. Compounding these concerns, pharmaceutical companies were granted liability waivers, shielding them from legal responsibility for vaccine-related injuries or death. This unique legal protection has intensified public scepticism and fear, especially as health data has shown an alarming increase in heart attacks, thrombosis, myocarditis, pericarditis, strokes, and cancers following the widespread administration of the COVID-19 vaccines. These are troubling trends have provided many questions whether there is a direct link between the vaccines and these observed health impacts remains to be seen. The conflicting advice from the Therapeutic Goods Administration TGA and numerous leading doctors and researchers has only fueled the controversy. Historically, there have been several instances where established science has been proven wrong, often with dire consequences. Despite negative data and safety concerns, some of these products were allowed to remain on the market, causing widespread harm to people, families and children. Notable examples of these was the thalidomide over the 1950s and 1960s for morning sickness, which led to severe birth defects in thousands of children. The other one was DDT, advertised good for you and me, a pesticide widely used, and that has now been banned as well. The growing concerns among our community about mRNA vaccines are palpable. Devastating stories of illnesses and loss of life, believing many may be linked to these vaccines, have surfaced, eroding trust in vaccination programs. The lack of comprehensive data through research exacerbates this distrust, raising the possibility of both pharmaceutical companies and government agencies may have miscalculated the risks. Given this backdrop, it's imperative that we call for transparency and accountability. A Royal Commission should be established to conduct an independent inquiry into the safety and effectiveness of mRNA vaccines. Such a Royal Commission would have the authority to thoroughly investigate and address public concerns, ensuring that all available data is scrutinised and that any potential risks are fully understood and communicated. The controversy surrounding mRNA vaccines highlights a crucial need for openness and rigorous scientific investigation. Only through transparency and independent review can public trust be restored and the true benefits and risks of these vaccines be comprehensively determined. The immediate suspension of the mRNA vaccines for children pending the outcome of a Royal Commission is logical and responsible in the light of increasing health concerns related to these vaccines. My real concern is people's health. I'm not saying whether these sparks in heart attacks, myocarditis, pericarditis, are they linked to the vaccine? Are they not? I don't know. But there is a lot of health data that shows increase in heart attacks, myocarditis, pericarditis, all around the time of the COVID vaccines. And in history, we've got it wrong before. Do we have it wrong this time? I believe if you're an adult and you want to have your mRNA vaccine, you've got free choice to be vaccinated. But if these things are correlated to the vaccines, we should not be injecting our children, all right? And what I want to see happen is that this health data, the research, and the difference between, and it's not one scientist or virologist, it's numerous. More and more and more are coming forward. Some of these who spoke out early were struck off the list, not allowed to practice. They were silenced. My question is why? And what I want to see is that this is brought together as far as who's right, who's wrong. If we all want the best in health and outcomes, surely we can get on the same page. And if it was just one virologist or one scientist, you might go. But when it's more and more and it's growing, we've got to pay caution to this. And if there is something wrong, it's a dire consequence for our communities across Australia, Playford, everywhere else. I've had a number of correspondences from residents, and thank you for those correspondences. Some of them are differing opinion, but more people who've written to me have actually supported the immediate suspension of the COVID vaccines. I'm not going that far at this stage. I think we should support a suspension for children. If you're an adult, you want to be vaccinated, that's your choice. So I'd appreciate your support on this tonight, and I think it's really, really important that we get this right. Thank you.
There's a motion, find a seconder. Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to start by thanking Councillor Kerrison for his intestinal fortitude to bring a motion like this to the chamber. It takes a lot of courage, because unfortunately out there is this climate of censorship that has existed ever since the COVID-19 pandemic unfortunately made its ways to Australia and right across the world, allegedly from China, from Wuhan, from the lab there. You know, the interesting part about the pandemic, the COVID-19 vaccine, or the virus and then the associated vaccines, is we were told by experts that they were safe and effective. They were good for us. We needed to do it. We needed to take them for our health. Unfortunately, and I can't, as Councillor Kerrison said a moment ago, I can't now have a direct causal link to say that certain alleged vaccine-related injuries are the direct result of taking vaccines. But I can tell you that anecdotally, at least, there are, like, I've spoken to many dozens of people in my immediate circle who have been affected as a result of taking what they believe were the vaccines with adverse consequences shortly thereafter after taking them. I think what Councillor Kerrison's motion looks to do here is to do a couple of things: draw attention to the issue, get it out in the public light, because at the moment you've got federal politicians that should be bringing this to the fore, and they're not, because they lack the courage to do so. They're the facts. I've spoken to some senators about this, Liberal senators as well, who will say privately, yep, we agree. There were things that were just completely wrong. Civil liberties were curtailed, and they will acknowledge that behind the scenes, but they won't do anything publicly. And I'm hoping now that this will start to change, that there will be courage that comes out as council after council now looks at some of the findings from some of these reports. And I did have a look at the findings of this specialist, Dr. David Speaker. And I don't know, I can't say that he's correct, that all the other people that are supporting him are correct and the TGA is wrong. I'm not going to stand here and say that, but what I am going to say is, why not do a royal commission? Why not bring attention to this issue? As I said, in late 2019, 2021, our civil liberties were curtailed, and it might be the case, in fact, I'll concede that it's the case that the authorities thought they were doing the right thing. I won't impugn anything sinister in terms of their motives. We'll say that they were thinking that they were doing the right thing on the basis of the advice, the medical advice that was provided to them. Problem is that it led to massive destruction. Many people suffered mentally, depression, suicide rates increased. As I said, vaccine-related injuries, at least alleged, were rampant. And no one's doing anything about this. There should be some sort of investigation. A royal commission, I think, is fitting. And why wouldn't you do it? If everything is right, why wouldn't you come out and air it to the public so that you give the public confidence that the peak medical body in Australia, the TGA, is right. The medical evidence is there, and we can feel comfortable and assured that what they're approving is right, safe, and effective as they say. That's what I believe the intent of the motion is, and I absolutely commend it, and I thank you, Councillor, for bringing it to the chamber.
Any other councillor wishes to speak? Councillor Small-Smith.
Yes, thank you very much. Whilst I commend Councillor Kerrison for bringing this forward, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. Both my husband and I have had 6 COVID injections and we're perfectly fine. In relation to children, I've got some advice here that I actually received today where it says, without risk factors, a child 6 months to 5 years, 5 years to 18 years, not eligible for the vaccine. 18 years and older, recommended for a single dose. With risk factors, eligible for 2 primary doses and maybe a third, eligible for a single primary dose, that's 5 to 18 years, and recommended a single primary dose for 18 years and over. If the children have got severe immunocompromise, then it's recommended 2 doses for the 6 to 5, 5 to 18, 2 doses and possibly a third, and 18 years and older, 2 primary doses. So to me, I don't know why we're saying that we need to stop it for children. That is a personal choice to have your child immunised. And as I said, having had 6 doses myself, I'm perfectly fine, and so is my husband. So the information that I have here in front of me all indicates that the tests that were not done properly. And this is stuff from the government website. So who do we believe? Who do we believe? I commend Councillor Kerrison for bringing it forward, but having read this information today, I'm not going to support the motion.
Councillor Small-Smith, any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Norris.
Thank you. Look, I think the main thing that I take from this is, at the end of the day, we want to look after our residents, and you know, the fact that they have proper livelihoods, healthy living, the community's prospering, that's our #1 goal, right? Obviously, since we had the vaccine mandated a number of years ago, many healthy people have since had life-impacting injuries. I do actually know personally of a few that do live within Playford. Both only had 1 shot. One suffered a heart attack. The other one still has ongoing heart issues, and these are people that are still quite young. And I also still note that some jobs and some companies still mandate this. So whether or not it says, yeah, cool, you only have to have 1 or 2 shots, but companies are going, no, you've got to keep them up to date, so keep going. So what is that telling us? I guess the thing for me is just, I think this is a really good idea to obviously try and correlate that information. We've got government saying one thing, and we've obviously got health professionals and other people saying another. So we really need to look into this and try and understand vaccines, especially with one that was rolled out so quickly. Thanks.
Councillor Vanderpeer.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I just want to start by prefacing that I don't hold any qualifications in medicine or nursing, and I'm also not an expert in this area, and I think the difference is I'm not pretending to be that. And I do want to say, you know, every citizen has their right to hold whatever views they hold true, and they have every right to petition, to protest, to advocate, and you know, I respect Councillor Kerrison's right to hold those views, and I respect his right as a citizen to declare those views publicly. But what I don't respect is people using local government to push those views. And Mayor Doherty, this isn't the first time you know, we've seen elected members attempt to bring councils into you know, a value pushing or view pushing mechanism. And I think we all need to remember that fundamentally the residents in Playford, they just want their roads fixed, their rubbish picked up, and they want their verges mowed. And you know, we're not even doing some of that properly. So what residents don't want is the people they elect to use ratepayers' resources to push certain agendas or you know, culture wars or things like that. Now, I remember Councillor Kerrison was actually one of the first people to say that at the start of this term. I remember him vividly saying that elected members really need to be careful not to push certain agendas on council, and you know, we're elected locally and we need to engage on local issues. And I also want to remind everyone around this table that 2 months ago at the October council meeting, Councillor Kerrison said, and I'll just quote, sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but is that a sound basis to make a decision on? So it just makes you wonder who or what is the squeaky wheel, and is that a sound basis to make a decision on? Now, Mayor Doherty, we can't look at this motion in isolation. I know Councillor Kerrison referenced the Port Hedland Council, and something similar seems to have been moved there, but that particular councillor that moved that motion has also publicly expressed their support for Putin. So I think we need to be really careful when we're looking at how these things pop up and what they may be connected to. And I just want to finish on the great irony of this whole thing that I just can't ignore. And the irony is, after this item on the agenda, we have a motion calling for better collaboration, better communication between the council and state and federal members of parliament. And that's particularly on growth infrastructure. But on any matter, and particularly on growth infrastructure, if you want better collaboration, you know, with other levels of government, it sort of makes you wonder how the persistent reputational damage to this council caused by stunts like this actually affects that collaboration and cooperation.
Councillor Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. I'm going to bring our attention back to the motion actually and stay on track and talk to the motion, of which we got 5.2, and that's what we're here to do tonight. So again, my fellow colleague has said the same as well. I'm not a medical expert, but I've got ears, and I listen to that. There's a variety of different sides of views that have been echoed since COVID has come. To if you're pro or against a particular side of the fence, that's your will, and that's your choice to support. But the thing is, though, there has been arguments for, there's been arguments against, there's been experiences not experienced by an individual due to taking a vaccine 1, 2, 3 or 4 times, or not taking a vaccine at all. I think there's no one around this chamber, and should we degrade an individual to tonight, we're here as a collective 15 elected members, that has brought forward a commentary that hasn't gone silent post-COVID. And I'm of the opinion myself that if we've got medical professions who are either pro and pushing and you should be vaccine, that's great. But if we've also got medical experts who are against it for their medical reasons, the avenue is that we have the ability to seek, to advocate, to work alongside our tiers of government, not to be suppressed, and just request for such a Royal Commission to be done. If this doesn't go any further than just a letter written to 3 or 4 people, we've done it. It's not inappropriate of resources. We can write that letter and send it off, and then we move on tomorrow. And I look forward to the motion next, when we talk about infrastructure, but not crossing it over at all. So I stand here tonight, I'm pro-vaccination, but I've got no problems in giving this the support, because I would love to use my ears to listen if a Royal Commission was ever to be upheld as a result of this, or any other council around Australia may wish to write to. So as I said, I'm pro-vaccine, but I'm not against the ability to advocate and to listen to either side of medical opinion, because yet again, it's not us who determines who is echoing the right medical opinion. As we said, we're not medical experts, but depending on what doctor you go to and what side you support, you're always going to say that's right and that's wrong. So I'm happy to support this and just see where it goes.
Councillor Craig.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I believe council has got a holistic kind of gambit. We are part of the community voice, so if there's elements of our community that are expressing a concern, then it's only right that we echo that concern and we advocate for our community. That's what we're here for. And as much as maybe it's not our tier of government, we can have a say, we can have a sway, we can raise concerns on behalf of our constituents. And I think that's only right that we do, because there is a wider debate out there about this matter. And as much as we know there's different views amongst us around the table here, there's scepticism one way or the other about the matter. But the fact is that there's many questions circulating about this matter in the wider community. And there's other councils that have also taken processes to address some of those growing concerns as well. And there is a real prospect, it seems, for some of risk. That's just my observation, as others have talked about it. I know some people have, it seems, have had some adverse reaction. I think that can't be argued against, and so it would be wise for us to advocate some kind of questioning of all of this, and whether, if there is some risk, then questions should be raised, and having the government take some further action would be a good thing, because of course public health is critical, and as much as we're only the grassroots tier of government, we still are in touch with our community, and as has been mentioned, there's people in our community that seem to have been adversely affected, possibly, and so why shouldn't we put such a motion to advocate to more higher levels of government, so that the different medical views, one way or the other, can be really scrutinised and it can be really thrashed out at that high level, because there are many voices who are urging caution, including professionals and medical people. I've seen quite a few articles from very senior medically qualified people who have raised very serious concerns, and it seems like some of that is being muzzled and it's being stifled, and it's not really a really fair, open, wide debate. And I think that's what this motion is simply asking for. Like it says, that there's different views, some for, some against. We're not necessarily taking an extreme position here. We're simply advocating for a wider debate at a commission, Royal Commission level, that the senior authorities of our land can actually thrash this out and really come to a settled opinion about the matter, and whether dismiss those that are against the vaccine, or to say no, there is significant concern, and likewise the need to protect our little ones, children who could be, potentially more at risk from having something that's suspect. I know my mum and dad tell me that when I was a little boy, while my mum was pregnant, thalidomide was recommended, but thank God my mother didn't take thalidomide.
Councillor Carlson.
Thanks, Mayor. This motion baffles me a bit, so I'm just wondering how we've gone from someone working in real estate onto being a primary producer turned medical expert. I've no idea that doom scrolling and a Google deep dive would give someone the medical expertise to call for a Royal Commission. Also, we've spoken many times about parental responsibility in this chamber. This is another one of those exact times. As a parent, I'm capable of making informed decisions for my children. I don't need a council motion to make my choice as a parent for my children. So no, I won't be supporting this motion. I'd rather trust the actual medical experts.
Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to commend Councillor Kerrison for bringing this motion forward, and I certainly won't be casting aspersions at anything regarding his person. Look, there will always be adverse reactions to any form of vaccines, and Actually, I have family that is highly allergic to certain vaccinations that millions of other people can take. However, when you've been through this situation with COVID, as we all have, the statistics clearly demonstrate that millions of people had this vaccine with no adverse effects. You will always get a certain percentage of the population that will react adversely. So I'm afraid that I can't support this motion because I think the motion is taking things far too wide. And I do notice that the actual suggestion came from Port Hedland Council, which is the Eastern Seaboard, and as we all know, it is highly political over there. And I'm also quite sure that there are many discussions and research activities in play that are looking at this and many other vaccines that are out in our community. And unless we do have these vaccines that come into our community facing the sort of illnesses and diseases that we're facing, we certainly won't get any further.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not supporting this motion tonight because while I appreciate the concern raised regarding COVID-19 vaccines by Councillor Carson, I believe we must ground our discussion in scientific consensus rather than a wide wind of misinformation. Firstly, calling for a Royal Commission into a safety and effectiveness of mRNA vaccines seems to disregard the extensive research supporting their efficacy. There's plenty of evidence already. Secondly, the suggestion to immediately suspend mRNA vaccines for children is concerning. This could lead to a rise in preventable diseases. And let's be honest, our kids are already good at catching colds without any help from us. We should focus on keeping them safe, not putting them in a game of viral dodgeball. Additionally, we need to consider the resources a Royal Commission would consume. Our health system is already stretched thin. Do we really want to pull more people in a political circus where there are pressing health issues that need our attention? Lastly, this motion seems to shift our focus from local issues to a national debate. Our council should concentrate on local health issues, not become a stage for political theatrics. Let's keep our attention on what truly matters to our community. While I respect the right to express concerns, I believe this motion does not serve the best interest of our community, and let's stick to the facts and keep our focus where it belongs. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to discuss the matter? If not, Councillor Garrison has the right to close if he wishes.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Look, we always knew this was going to be topical, and it's also a very political stance as well. I just want to go back to where community voice was raised, and I believe we are the community voice. All right, and I've got a number of emails, people have spoken to me about their concerns about vaccine injuries in the community. Now, I can't prove whether one way or the other. It was asserted tonight that I'm claiming to be a scientist. I am not. I might have a science background in ag science, but I'm definitely not a scientist. We are the community voice, and this is a community issue that there's been no engagement on with the community. It was only a short month or two ago, we had Mr. Piccolo in here talking about gaming machines and banning a hotel from having gaming machines. Now, there was a consultation engagement period. There was a community voice, they had their say, but that was brought to this chamber. So if I'm going to be lectured about what is and what is not right to bring to this chamber, well, it's going to be a long argument. Now, when this first came out, I did some extensive research, and one thing from my ag science background, I did go back and I looked at the animal research and the animal data, and it told me a story. All right, when they rolled out a low dose, it wasn't effective in stopping infection and wasn't effective in stopping transmission. When they rolled out a high dose to get efficacy, there was major health consequences in that research and that data. So with there being no trials in the human population, I was a little bit concerned the outcome. My prediction was on that, and it was only a prediction. I'm not a scientist, I'm not qualified to make the prediction. But to me, it was probably going to be a low dose and relatively ineffective, not stop infection, not stop transmission. And then we actually look at what's actually transpired in our community. It didn't stop infections. maybe for a very short time frame. It wasn't like the traditional protein-based vaccines. They were actually effective. And we had a local virologist in Adelaide who could have produced a protein-based vaccine. And I would have put my hand up and taken that one. All right, but no, he had to export it to Iran, wasn't allowed to sell it in Australia. So effective. You can't call it effective. All right, TGA is still saying it's effective. All the data I've seen elsewhere does not say it's effective. So, you know, I struggle with how we can not support this. There's vast differences. There's more and more people coming out with health concerns and complications in our community. There's more and more people across the world coming out with concerns. I want the truth. All right? If it's the TGA advice is correct, fantastic. We can get on and continue with our protein-based vaccines, further develop mRNA vaccines if that's what it is, and let's go forward. But right now, there are many people that will not take vaccines. They no longer trust the vaccine industry. All right? And anything that's got mRNA on it, I don't trust. You know, once it's said it's not gene therapy, and then it's come out with, I forget the exact thing, but something to do with cancer, and they called it gene therapy. 1 minute it's not gene therapy, 1 minute it is. What is true? What is not true? All right? I want the truth, and the community wants the truth that I've spoken to. All right? And even people that go, hey, yeah, but the TGA says this. Yeah, I agree, the TGA says that. Might be right. What if it's wrong? What if it's wrong? Go back to DDT, fluminide, and all the other things. All right, if we had acted on fluminide earlier, it could have saved thousands of children. But no, it's safe. Don't worry about it. Let's turn a blind eye to it. So what's wrong with the Royal Commission? Let's get the data. Let's get independent people to pull this out and find what is true and what isn't true. All right, and it's a no-win. It's a win both ways. All right, because if it's proved the TGA is correct, we can have confidence in the vaccine industry and move forward and restore people's faith. All right, and if it's wrong, we need to acknowledge it, correct it, and make sure there's no more people damaged or injured by vaccines if that's what is occurring. So I'm not saying one or the other, but let's get the truth. And if we're not prepared to stand up for a community and seek the truth, why are we here?
Councillors, we had the motion before us. I won't read it out, so I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The motion is lost. Division's been called by Councillor Rentoulis. So the motion is set aside. Sorry, Councillor Arifi. By Councillor Arifi. Those voting for the motion, if you could rise in your place. So for the minute taker, we have Councillor Marsh, Councillor Kerrison and Councillor Onyazans, Councillor Rentoulis, Councillor Norris and Councillor Craig. Thank you, councillors. We then move on to item 12.2, motion on notice growth, infrastructure and Curtis Road delivery. Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Tonight is, once again, I'll just read through it. It says it all pretty well. The City of Playford recognises the critical importance of fostering a robust and constructive relationship with the state and federal governments, as well as with the relevant departments. This collaboration is essential for addressing the infrastructure needs of our growing community, with 10 new residents each day, and ensuring the successful delivery of projects that addresses the growing pains of our city. In this context, the City of Playford seeks to enhance its working relationship with these tiers of government, local members of Parliament and departments. The City of Playford 1 invites the Federal Member for Spence, Mr Matt Burnell, the Member for Taylor, the Minister for Housing and Urban Development, the Minister for Housing, Infrastructure and the Minister for Planning, Nick Champion, and the Member for Light, Tony Piccolo, to address to an information session at the City of Playford with elected members of council to discuss and workshop the requirements of infrastructure and their priorities, further identifying how we can work together to best deliver for the City of Playford and the ratepayers. The City of Playford is dedicated to partnering and working relations of the 3 tiers of government to deliver better infrastructure outcomes for the community. By enhancing collaboration with the state and federal governments, fostering positive relations with local MPs and hosting an information session with relevant stakeholders, the City aims to address infrastructure needs effectively. It's really important. I think there's been a little bit of a missing link. All right, the state government's doing lots of planning, we're doing lots of planning, and there's a gap between what they're planning, what we're planning, and our delivery. I think there is no one closer to the community than local elected members, and I think it's really important to bring local elected members so we also know what's happening, we can give our community voice to them, but also have the administration come forward with their detailed planning, the priority lists, to see what needs to be delivered effectively and where the assistance is best sought. This is really a no-brainer. You know, I haven't really had the opportunity of talking to my local MPs of late, which is really disappointing. But you know, getting them in a room in front of us all right, with the administration, with all the planning work, it just makes sense. So hopefully everyone can support this tonight. Thank you.
Councillor Zans, you second the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I support the intent of the motion. Yes, second it.
You can speak, yes.
Well, it is a step forward to establish constructive working relations with other tiers of government and departments. And I reckon it will be of great benefit to both sides in understanding each other's perspectives when addressing infrastructure needs or concern or issues in the city. And ultimately and hopefully, you know, if there is a greater collaboration, obviously this would gonna benefit the city and its residents. So it's as short as that. I love the intent of this motion.
Councillor Sponsby.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Carrison. Congratulations on bringing this forward. I think it's a great motion, except I don't believe you all know how busy these MPs are, and we're probably looking at least 12 months before they could actually come in here for a meeting. So I would suggest that instead of having them come here, we ask the Mayor and the CEO to try and get a meeting with them. I mean, it's a very good motion, but I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that it would be months and months away before we could get all three of them together in here. So it may be worth considering just having the Mayor and the CEO meet with them, and that's what I would support.
Councillor Reeve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'm not sure if Councillor Carrison would accept the proposal from Councillor Smallwood-Smith, but I would like to move an amendment to include the suggestions made by the fellow councillor. If I could make the following amendment, just in the middle paragraph, after Tony Piccolo MP to meet with the City of Playford Mayor and CEO to discuss about the requirements. Just that middle paragraph. Yeah.
So you're keeping everything else. So really, what you're suggesting is you remove the words "information session."
Yep.
And then insert. I'm not sure if the minute taker got your words, but
to meet with the City of Playford Mayor and CEO, and the rest can remain the same. And then in the last paragraph.
In the last paragraph of this item.
Yep.
Sorry, in this paragraph or
in the initial motion.
Yeah.
Where it says, and hosting an information session. We remove that as well and just and hosting a meeting with relevant stakeholders.
Yeah, so just omitting the words hosting an information session.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I'll just confirm, Mr. Green, there's no issue with that in terms of the way we're omitting and taking out those words for potential amendments. So the question would be whether, well, first, as our usual practice, whether just hold on a moment. So our usual practice would be, would the mover and seconder wish to accept that variance to start with? No, so there will have to be an amendment. So, Councillor Reef, if you wish to speak to your amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, without a doubt, we need to get our local MPs on board and have a discussion about our growth areas. We're one of the fastest growing councils in the state, probably in the nation. We need to work alongside them constructively, and we need to meet with them as soon as possible. As Councillor Smallwood-Smith said, they're all pretty busy being a minister and other MPs, and with federal elections and state elections coming up pretty soon. What I would want is for our community to ensure that we can advocate as soon as possible on their behalf on the issues impacting the growth areas. And I think it's a reasonable request to have our principal spokesperson of the council, the mayor and the CEO, to meet with these community leaders and raise the concerns of the council, and as they do most of the times with other stakeholders. And I think information sessions are normally held on Tuesday night when the Parliament is sitting, so it's going to be impossible to make an arrangement for them to come to an information session. So ultimately we want to meet with them, we want to raise our council concerns, and I believe the CEO and the Mayor are capable of expressing our views to the MPs. Thanks.
The amendment, find a seconder. Councillor Ayani, you seconding the amendment?
Yes, I'm happy to second the amended motion. I don't need to speak to it as the motion is speak to itself, but I'll briefly talk to it. So I believe by supporting this amended motion, we are advocating for a more strategic and effective approach to addressing our infrastructure need for our city. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Ayani. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I wish to speak against the amendment. Look, I'm sure that the Mayor and the CEO have met with politicians on more than one occasion, but I think with there being so much misinformation, both in the written media and in the socials, I really think it's imperative that this chamber in its full meet with the various members of Parliament. Look, if this amendment fails, I propose a further amendment which asks for them to be met jointly or separately. So, if this fails.
Councillor Norris.
Thank you. I actually just had a couple of questions which I would direct to yourself, Mayor Doherty and Sam. And I think Councillor Baker kind of just reiterated it anyway. Do you not already meet with some of these stakeholders to discuss infrastructure within Playford?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thanks, Councillor Norris. Yes, the Mayor and I both meet with these members of Parliament, either together or individually on a number of occasions around various matters affecting the city and particularly growth.
Thank you. The other question would be essentially how much of that information do you feel is subsequently passed on to elected members? Because at the end of the day, you know, you'll probably put the major points in there, but we're not getting the whole story and we're not getting all of the information that you may have got by actually being in the room.
Through the Mayor, it's certainly true to say that we don't come back and recount the meetings word for word, but I think it's fair to say that we pass on the sentiment of where the government is at and what they're doing. I believe that we communicate what we're trying to do to advocate for the issues that affect our city. So I think there's a fair exchange of information between the Mayor and myself and the Council, and we certainly take the views of the Council back the other way.
Councillor Kerrison.
Yeah. Thank you. Look, I'm going to speak against this amendment, and the first reason is I would hope that Mayor Doherty and our CEO, Mr. Green, speaks and communicates as required with the members of Parliament. I believe is communique there, and I would support that to continue. So effectively, there has still been a gap All right, we recently had a member for Spence discussing and criticising council for not applying for a grant that actually missed the mark. Had to be shovel ready, it wasn't shovel ready. There's a whole lot of things that didn't really add up. Then also criticised us for, and it wasn't us as the chamber, it was approved by the administration, as I understand it. But if it's something that's going to be $1 in for a grant process, $1 out, and it supports a facility for the community, net zero for the residents, doesn't cost us a cent if it's net in, net out, that's starting that up for me. And then we get a commercial facility that gives us commercial rates, that gives us revenue to the bottom line that we can do stuff for our community with. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So I think that was misrepresented. So I think the intention of this motion is let's get everyone in the room. And we've all seen, look, we see reports. We've got a report here tonight. You can look at that. But when you actually sit down in an information session, that is very well put together by administration, highlighting all the different scopes. We have open discussion on it. Those information sessions give me, as an elected member, a far better understanding, far better scope, and I think collectively as a chamber we make better decisions. All right, who's missing from that conversation? It's our MPs, the people we need the assistance from. Just remember, City of Playford, as a resident, I didn't put my hand up to be the growth zone. Didn't want it, but we are. Are there opportunities? Most certainly, but it's coming at a cost. Our growth zone's on a floodplain. We've got all the planning work for all the water and infrastructure, right? We've got things of a rural road called Curtis Road that now arterial feeder road. I believe it should be handed over to the state government because it's now arterial feeder road, and that's probably my personal opinion where it belongs, but it is a council road. So I think we need to sit down and work, be it Curtis Road, be it infrastructure, be it delivery for our community. If we don't do this, it's our community and it's our residents and ratepayers that miss out. All right, you know, all of us, we've got the importance of that information. Who here in this room doesn't get value of the information sessions? Delivers a lot. The MPs are missing out on it. Let's work together. Let's bring them to the table. All right. So unfortunately, I'm going to not support this amendment. What this amendment does is actually just say status quo is normal, and I want to make it better and improve it for the residents of Playford. Thank you.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you. I think this amendment sticks with what we've generally aligned with, trusting the Mayor and CEO to have these important discussions. Also, if the majority, or if the intent of this motion was mostly about Curtis Road, you might want to have a look at the redistribution that's just happened and see the MP that you've just excluded that now takes in some of Curtis Road.
Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Docky. I'm sure I can speak till 10 p.m. on this topic if I can. No. I'm going to talk against the amendment, and I just want to highlight back pre the 2018 elections when, along with John G at the time, we organised, myself and him, the elected members, Tony Piccolo, the incoming Matt Burnell for Spence, Nick Champion. Tony Piccolo was invited but had another engagement on, and we all collaboratively, actually willingly, came together. I could be wrong if the Mayoral was there or not. I can't remember. But we're all there in John G's office, and we started talking about Curtis Road, just organically. It was the very first conversation that we ever had a federal member, an incoming federal member, state members and elected members too together. It was actually great to see, because now that those individuals are now in federal, they are now in state, we're now here on local government, we started to build a bit of a continuity of a understanding of growth. And it's pre that time where we had continuous engagements from our CEO and our Mayor and our staff for quite some time, pre-2018, where we have lacked. We have lacked in managing growth as a collective at all three tiers. Now, that's not to say that our chair and our CEO and our staff have not been doing the work, not at all. What it's saying is that there is a missing piece in this consultation, and that is the elected members need to be part of that conversation. We don't need to be part of every discussion. What we're saying here is that we are yet to bring in a minister who is a local MP, who has a super portfolio and has many levers and the ability to pull. who has an understanding of the local area. But I think we can give them a greater level of understanding for what we represent, for which we live, we work and we play in the local area. I don't like the fact that we're excluding the involvement of elected members. At the end of the day, once a month when we come here to the chamber, we are the decision makers. We are the ones that decide what projects go into our annual business plans, and we are the ones that should be able to provide feedback directly to our MPs. If it's through our chair, if it's through the CEO, or if it is them coming into the one room. I find it of no issue in inviting our local members, if it's federal or state, to come together and respectfully just sit there and talk about unity and to talk about one topic. We don't need to exclude 15 elected members for all of us to be on the same page. We could throw out dozens of examples of where collaboration has worked well. If that's on Curtis and Heaslip Road, where there was a bad policy decision that could have been made, where it would have been single lane, but through the negotiations, feedback from the community, through council, with the body, the former government changed it to a dual lane. It's these discussions when elected members come together with our staff and with our local MPs at a time that we know right now one of the biggest policy failings is SA Water. What's great to see is our Minister Champion is jumping up where he can to get every single dollar available to roll out sewer and water to the growth areas. It's now to have that conversation with him about growth infrastructure. And I've used the terminology a lot about growing pains, and I'm going to steal another, and I've beat the drums in 2018. It was a week prior to me starting a campaign for Curtis Road that we had a death at that intersection, and it's only now we're rolling out that dual lane roundabout. But what's great is that we can start moving forward. We can start being collaborative, we can start being united, we can start pushing projects together, and we can start now future-proofing City of Playford. If we don't start doing it now, and if you want to exclude elected members, not only is that rude, but you are saying you don't want to be part of the team, when I hope the majority tonight will vote this one down and support the original motion. And it's a clear message that every time and each time we want to invest in growth infrastructure, we want to future-proof for generations to come. Not 5 years, not 10 years, and not 20. So let's get on the same bus together, let's ride together, and let's start delivering for the City of Playford. And I will not support this booting out 15 elected members from the one conversation that we could have respectfully. Thanks, everyone.
Councillor Craig.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I understand the amendment argues, engagement of the CEO and Mayor, but that's really already happening. There's not really any point to that amendment because it's what's already in place. And I think there's a lot of value in us ideally getting together with our federal and state counterparts. And I take Councillor Baker's point, we may not be able to get everyone in the room at the one meeting. Maybe we have 2 meetings. It needn't be a Tuesday night. We've got other nights that we could make that information time. It just would be good to get everyone in the room together and to think tank and to have a bit of argy-bargy, pleasantry kind of interaction, so we can hear their point of view and we can share some of more the grassroots point of view that we represent as the people that we represent. So I think that would be the best option, to go back to the original motion, perhaps with Councillor Baker's addition.
Councillor Van Veen.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I'll just be quick in indicating my support for the amendment to the original motion, but also to thank Councillor Kerrison for bringing up the original motion as well. I think the amended version of the motion sort of aligns with what we're constantly told, whether it's by the council or by state and federal government, that we're not allowed to speak on behalf of the council and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not overly fussed either way. I regularly meet with all of the MPs listed in this motion. They're always happy to meet some councillors to talk about growth infrastructure. So it doesn't really change much in my view either way. but I will support Councillor Arifi's amendment to the motion, and I will continue to meet with state and federal representatives.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Arifi can close if you wish. Nope. All right, councillors, we've got the amendment that is before us, so I'll put that. Those in favour? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, tied vote. This is a very interesting vote, ladies and gentlemen. I get the casting vote. I think the original motion that was put does have some hairs on it. I think the amendment, while still not great, has an ability at this point to move forward until a better motion can come forward. I think that would be, at this point, a better way to do it. I think there is some opportunities around what some of the other councillors said about how you'd go about it, but that is not what's before us. So I'll support the amendment. So it's carried. So the amendment becomes the motion, unless anyone else wishes to amend it. And we still have to then vote on the item. So is there any other councillors wishing to speak or amend the item? Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, what I would like to do, the motion that we have on notice from Councillor Kerrison, I would like to insert, same motion, but insert the words jointly or separately after Tony Piccolo MP. Can you see where that is there? Information session. Yep. Aye. I'm sure there's conversation going on. I'm just waiting.
If necessary.
Through the Mayor, Councillor Baker, just for clarity, is your amendment or what you're seeking to amend relate to the now amended motion or to the original motion? Because an amendment can only build upon the motion that's sort of before us. We now have an amended motion that was passed that talks about the Mayor and CEO meeting with these members. Now, you could insert jointly or separately to that. That would be fine. But I'm just clarifying: is that your intent?
So, where would you suggest that I put that in the amended motion? So what have I got there?
Where you've got it is appropriate. Yep. I'm just suggesting that, to be clear, that is now for the Mayor and the CEO to meet with the members jointly or separately.
So what are you suggesting? I'm asking the administration, thank you. Right.
So, Councillor Baker, that would be, as I understand it, the intent of your amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I want this chamber to meet with them.
Yep, through the Mayor. So you can only build upon the motion as it now stands. It's just been amended. You can't move an amendment to go back to where it was. Your option is to vote the motion down and then move a separate motion.
Yes, you can do two amendments, but what Mr Green is alluding to is that as it's been amended, the amendment has to build on the motion. You can't amend it back in that point. Yes. Yes.
No, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure where we're going here. Well, there's no point. There's no point doing that, is there? If you're what? But you're already meeting them jointly and separately.
Councillors, that's now the motion. That is now the motion that the chamber has amended. So the motion you are now debating is for the Mayor and the CEO to meet with those members of Parliament. Now, whether we do that jointly or separately is not prescribed at the moment.
Sure,
if you want to prescribe that, you can. I would suggest it's not necessary. But Councillor Baker, my understanding is you're wanting to revert to the intent of the original motion that was moved.
Yeah.
The only way to do that now is to vote this motion down and then move an alternate motion back to what was first put forward initially.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's denying the chamber the opportunity, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's giving you a chance to vote on a motion. The motion's still got to go through yet. We've only approved an amendment. We haven't got to the final motion yet. We've got the amended motion. We haven't actually voted on the amendment as the motion at this point. So someone could still build on that even more, or discuss the the amended motion. Councillor Norris.
All right, so if we're not in agreement with the whole elected body being at this meeting, my suggestion would be to amend it further to suggest that one representative from each ward is present in that meeting as well.
You can do that. Are you moving that amendment, Councillor Norris? Are you moving that amendment?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Does that find a seconder? Does it find a seconder? If not, then it lapses for the want of a seconder. So now, if there's no other discussion, then you can close up if you wish, Councillor Kerrison.
No, I'm just ready to act on it and vote it down. Thank you.
All right, councillors, we'll put the motion as before us. All those in favour? So the amendment becomes the motion. So it's the amended motion, councillors, not the amendment. We've already still got the amendment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then those for the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, against the motion. Against the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the motion is lost. That's it. Motion's lost. Keep going. So we move on to item 13, motions without notice. Are there any motions? No motions. Then we move on to item 14.1, Animal Management Plan 25 to 29. Councillor Small-Smith.
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Small-Smith. Committee recommendation. And then we will find a seconder for that. Councillor Halls.
Second the committee.
Yep, seeing the recommendation. Do you wish to speak on it? Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? No other councillors wishing to speak? Then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We move to item 14.2, Community Support and Grant Program 24-25.
Yep.
Councillor Onjans.
Yep, I'd like to move.
Does that find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Halls.
Thank you. I don't wish to speak.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We move to item 15.1, Budget Update Report. I'll just wait for Councillor Vanderpeer to come back into the chamber. Yeah, please, Ms. Compier. Move to item 15.1, Budget Update Report. Councillor Small.
Move staff recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Smallwood-Smith. Does it find a seconder? Does it find a seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Onjans. Does the mover and seconder wish to speak? If not, no other speakers, I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 15.2, Corporate Governance Committee Communique, December. Councillor Onjans.
You're happy to move the staff recommendation.
Does it find a seconder? Councillor Smallwood-Smith. Seconded by Councillor Smallwood-Smith. Does any other councillor wish to speak? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. There's nil informal discussion. We move on to item 17.1, Normal Audit Committee Independent Member Appointments on page 95. And pursuant to section 92 of the Local Government Act 1999, an order is made that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting under section 93A. Does somebody wish to move that way? Does somebody wish to move that way? Councillor Halls.
Yes, I move that way.
Does that find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Smallwood-Smith. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Ask that the gallery be vacated and the doors closed.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.
And then we move on to the next item, which is item 17.2, Riverlea Community Land Management Plan and Attachment on page 46. And we will move into confidence under the relevant section, which is 97, under section 92A and under 93B. Does somebody wish to move that way? Moved by Councillor Marsh. And does that find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Onyuzans. Does any other councillor wish to speak? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Ask that the gallery be vacated and the doors closed.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au.
And there's no other business, so we'll close the meeting at 8:23. Thank you all for your attendance and wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.